I would like to say a big thank you to the organizers of this very necessary, very important event. I personally, preparing for the shiur, personally gained a lot, and it definitely enhanced my recitation of the Asher Yatzar Beracha. Yiratzon, there should be a great refuah shlema to Yaakov Israel. What's interesting, in the Shulchan Aruch, the book that has all of our laws that our religion goes by, and the Shulchan Aruch, his job is really not to explain the laws extensively. His job is not to bring so much detail into the laws. His job is to give us the law. This is what you have to do. This is what you're allowed to do. This is what you're not allowed to do. And then, the commentaries are busy with explaining why like this, why this yes, why this no. But what's interesting, when it comes to the bracha of Asher Yatzar, the Shulchan Aruch uses more ink. He uses more paper to really explain the bracha, to get into the details of the bracha, to go word for word. And we don't see that anywhere else. No other bracha that we have in the Shulchan Aruch, Shehakol, Mizonot, does he explain the words, explain the meanings. But when it comes to the bracha of Asher Yatzar, he takes more of his effort to really explain the bracha, to detail word by word. Now, if you notice, the bracha of Asher Yatzar is one of the brachot that we, more than any bracha really, say more frequently throughout the day. We can be saying this bracha at least 5 to 6 times a day. And unfortunately, it's one of the brachot that's really, I would say, in my humble opinion, is the most belittled bracha. For the simple fact that there are so many people that are so, listen, it's a pandemic that's going on. People left and right are getting sick, whether it's the current virus that's practically over, but any other sickness, any other illness that we have. And our rabbis say, once the great Rabbi Rav Shimshon Pinchas, he was giving a talk, and he was saying that, how do we know that the bracha of Asher Yatzar is the most belittled bracha? Is because look around. Everyone knows, or either has or knows of a family member or a friend that's was sick or is sick. And for the simple fact is that the bracha of Asher Yatzar is not being said properly. And he explained so beautifully, Rav Shimshon Pinchas said that if you look in the Amidah you have the bracha of Rafa'inu. And so the commentaries say, why do we need the bracha of Asher Yatzar? We have the bracha of Rafa'inu, we say 2 times a day. There you go, this is the bracha for healing. And the rabbis explain that the bracha of Rafa'inu is for someone who's already sick. And he wants to ask for refuah, he wants to get better. So he would recite the bracha of Rafa'inu and include in this bracha, to get better. But the bracha of Asher Yatzar, the rabbis explain, is for a person who's not sick. It's a bracha, it's a sigula to prevent a person from getting sick in the first place. So when Rav Shimshon Pinchas says, if everyone in Am Yisrael would say this bracha slowly, properly, it's guaranteed that there will be no illnesses. It's guaranteed that they would not have to see a doctor ever in their life. These are not my words. And I'm sure this was mentioned in the earlier by Rabbi Rachimi, that there's a great mikubal, a great rabbi in the 16th century. He was known as the Seder Hayom. And this rabbi writes that if every person would properly, with kavanah, with concentration, slowly recite the bracha of Asher Yatzar, it's guaranteed he would never see a doctor, nor will he ever get sick. Now you may ask, what does it mean to recite a bracha with concentration? What does it mean to recite a bracha properly? So the rabbi explains beautifully. He says, many times you see people, they use the restroom, right? And they wash their hands, without the bracha, obviously. They wash their hands, and then while they're wiping their hands, they're reciting the bracha of Asher Yatzar. The Chafetz Chaim, they said there they explain that one of the ways to properly recite Asher Yatzar is standing still without doing anything. Not drying your hands, not washing your hands, not looking at your phone, not holding this, not mimicking anything to anyone else. It's to stand there in one place, recite the bracha, and preferably the great Kabbalists, Rav Kaduri, and many others, it was known that they would say the bracha of Asher Yatzar with the sidur, with the finger, and in every word, every single word, they would point and read it from a sidur. You would think they probably know this bracha by heart. Why are they using a sidur? Because they know the importance of this blessing. They know that their health, their well-being is dependent on this bracha, this very bracha. This bracha is not when you're sick and you say it. This bracha is to prevent you from getting sick in the first place. And the reason and the proof to how we know why there's so many sicknesses in the world, it just shows how much Am Yisrael is really not taking this bracha seriously. So we applaud those that arrange this beautiful event, this very, very well, very necessary event, to really give chizuk to Am Yisrael, to in the recitation of Asher Yatzar, because I made a calculation. Not me. I did some homework before I joined the Zoom. But the Chafetz Chaim says that if a person would just recite Asher Yatzar 20 seconds, if it takes him 20, if you do it with kavanah, the proper way, slowly, word by word, it should take you about 20 seconds. So he calculated it takes about 5 to 6 times a day to do it. So if you calculate 20 seconds, 5 to 6 times a day, it comes out to around more or less 2 minutes a day. 2 minutes a day, a person is busy with reciting Asher Yatzar. And then if you look per week, if you recite Asher Yatzar 5 to 6 times a day for 20 seconds, in a week, it comes out to 14 minutes per week. And then if you go further per month, it comes out to 1 hour a month that we recite Asher Yatzar. And then if you take the whole year, 365 days in the year, it comes out to 12 hours in a whole year. If we recite Asher Yatzar properly, it comes out to 12 hours in this year that we're thanking Hashem, we're showing Hashem gratitude, hakarat tov, to the mere fact that everything works well, everything is good, everything is fine. 12 hours. And if we really contemplate on this beautiful gift that God gave us, which is life. What is life? Life is the hours that we live. And how many hours do we have per year? For free. God doesn't, He doesn't ask anything from us. He doesn't say, pay me for the hours that I give you. He gives us 8,760 hours per year. One more time, 8,760 hours per year. It gives us for free. The least we can do as His children, take 12 hours in that year and thank Him for our bodily functions. Thank Him that everything is working well, that we're able to use to use the restroom without any pain, without any complications. You know, the biggest musar my rabbi would ever tell us, if you really want to really feel the biggest musar, he said, go to the hospital and look at the sick patients over there. Every single one has his own problems, has his own difficulties. That's the biggest musar lesson. Baruch Hashem, all of us are sitting here, together, and at least we hope, and everything is fine. We're breathing well. We can see, we can smell. We use our needs in the restroom, and everything works well. The least that we can do is show Hashem Hakrat Tov by taking 20 seconds, by knowing just at least a summary of what the bracha of Asher Yatzar is talking about. I really had planned to, in my thoughts, I had to originally plan to go over the bracha with you word by word and to explain it. I don't know if we'll have the time to do that. But just to go through one little phrase over here, out of all the brachot that we have, out of all the brachot that we recite throughout the year, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, no bracha has the words Kisei HaKavod. No bracha. Do we mention Hashem's Kisei HaKavod in our daily life? No bracha, except for the bracha of Asher Yatzar. And the Vilna Gaon, in his beautiful Perush on the Imrei Noam in the Gemara, he says, why out of all the brachot that we recite every day, or even Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, the great holidays, nowhere do we have mention of Hashem's Kisei HaKavod, Hashem's holy throne. For those who don't know the terminologies, Kisei HaKavod is Hashem's holy throne. It's, so to speak, the chair that he sits in, to be allegorical, in allegorical terms. But in the bracha of Asher Yatzar, we mention his Kisei HaKavod, his holy throne. No other bracha do we mention it. So the Vilna Gaon gives us a beautiful answer. He says, because a person might think Hashem is so lofty, Hashem is so big, Hashem is so holy. He's all the way up there. He comes down and he's busy with my bodily needs. He's busy with my bodily functions. He's busy with my heart beating, my pulse, my kidneys, my liver. He's busy with all these things, the organs, the closings, the openings in my body. The Vilna Gaon says, yes, and the proof is in the bracha of Asher Yatzar. We mentioned the words, Kisei Havodecha, Hashem's holy throne. Even though he's so lofty, even though he's so great, even though he's so amazing, he's so high up there, but he's busy with every little detail in our life, every little detail in our body. He's busy every single second making sure that it works well. Morav Rabotai, I think the least that we can do to show Hakarat HaTov, to show some gratitude to Hashem, is to learn the Asher Yatzar, take a Sidur, to learn the meaning of every word. And when it comes to saying it, in our mind, at least to know a little bit a summary of what we're talking about, what we're saying, the words. And that's the least that we can do to show Hashem some sort of Hakarat HaTov. And the great rabbis say, it doesn't only help us in the next world, because it's a bracha in the end, and every bracha that we recite, every bracha that we make, we create ourselves an angel that protects us. Not only does it help us in the next world, but it also helps us in this world, because it's the biggest sigula, it's the biggest medicine. It's a pill that does wonders. It's a pill that you take, and you don't see sick. You don't have to see a doctor. You're not gonna have any problems of being sick. It helps us in this world, and also helps us in the next world. To say a little more on this, to give a little more chizuk on this great bracha of Asher Yatzar. Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he tells Moshe Rabbeinu, I want you to go to Pharaoh. I want you to go to Pharaoh, and I want you to give Pharaoh a little lesson. What's the lesson? I want you to go to Pharaoh and give him a lesson about me. I want you to make Pharaoh recognize me, who I am. So, in Parashat Bo, Rashi says that Hashem instructs Moshe to go to Pharaoh specifically early in the morning. So now a rabbi say, Rashi writes, there's 24 hours in the day. Why does Hashem want Moshe Rabbeinu to go specifically early in the morning to visit Pharaoh? So Hashem tells Moshe, I want you to go to Pharaoh specifically early in the morning. And Moshe asks, why early in the morning, Hashem? Why can't I go to him anytime I want to go to him? He says, no. I want you to go to him specifically early in the morning, because that's when he's using his bodily, that's when he's using the restroom. And it takes care of all his bodily needs. Moshe says, Hashem, that's the time to go to speak to Pharaoh. That's the time to go and to give Pharaoh a lesson on recognizing you, recognizing HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's the proper time? You think I should do that? Hashem says yes. Because Pharaoh is telling everyone that he's a God. And one of the proofs that he's proving to them that he's a God is he's telling his Egyptians, you see, I don't need to use the restroom. I'm a God. Gods don't need to use the restroom. He never told them that he doesn't eat. Pharaoh never told his Egyptians that he doesn't drink. But the message that he doesn't use the restroom, this message he portrayed to his Egyptians. So while he's using his bodily functions, while he's taking care of his bodily needs, I want you to go and give him a lesson. Give him a Torah lesson that I'm God and he should recognize me and he should know who I am and I exist in the world. And not only do I exist in the world, I'm managing every detail in the world. It comes to teach us a big lesson. That when the least we can do is show hakarat tov to Hashem after we finish using taking care of our bodily needs. But also, just like Moshe had to teach this lesson to Pharaoh, specifically when Pharaoh was finished using the restroom, how much more so does this message, does this lesson have to impact us after we finish with using the restroom? This message really has to be screaming at us. There's Hashem in the world. There's a God in the world, and he's busy every second making sure everything is working fine. Did we ever stop and think how our heart is beating? How everything else is working in our body? Did we ever stop and think who's monitoring everything? It's like a machine that it doesn't stop. If we stop and think just for a moment how so many people in the world. Just recently, I was told that one of our family members is having a very hard time and he's not able to use the restroom well, and mama's suffering. Tears fall in his tears dry. Tears fill up his eyes because he's in so much pain. And I said, "Wow, I don't have such pain. I don't have such suffering. I don't go through such suffering. But do I appreciate it? Do I stop and recognize what Hashem is doing? Do I stop and recognize and thanking Hashem after I finish with my bodily needs?" So it's something that we all really need to focus on, really need to think about. And one time there was a great Rosh Yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael, and he gets a phone call. And this Rosh Yeshiva is on the phone with an old-time priest that converted to Judaism. And he tells the Rosh Yeshiva, "Rabbi, I'm a priest. I used to be a priest. I converted to Judaism. I wanted to take my 7 friends, my 7 colleagues that are still priests now, but little by little, they want to get on the bandwagon. They also want to convert eventually. They want to become Jewish. They want to tour your yeshiva. They want to tour your yeshiva. Do you mind giving us a tour?" The Rosh Yeshiva was hesitant to bring 7 priests to tour the yeshiva. He wasn't so fond about that. He said, "You know what? Let's do it, but under one condition: that they don't dress like priests. They should put on regular clothes like regular people, and then we can tour." So this convert and his 7 friends, 7 priests come, and they're touring the yeshiva, and the rabbi is showing them every room, giving him a tour here, and this is a bet midrash, and over here they have classrooms over there, and they learn this topic over there. He's giving them little here, there, a little tour around the whole yeshiva. And then the rabbi excused himself. He needed to use the restroom, and he comes out and he washes his hands, and he stops on the corner, and he stands still, and he says, "Asher Yatzar," slowly, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. This rabbi, this Rosh Yeshiva is saying Asher Yatzar, b'kavanah, the right way. And the 7 priests are standing there and they're watching. They said, "What is this man doing? What 5 minutes? What is he murmuring for 5 minutes?" So he finishes, and then they come up to him and he says, Rabbi, what were you saying over there for those 5 minutes after you finished using the facilities? And the rabbi said, oh, I was just thanking God that everything in my body is working well, and I was able to use the restroom without any problems. I was thanking God for that. Many years go by. This Rosh Yeshiva comes to the States, and he's looking for a minyan to pray in. And he finds himself a synagogue close by. He enters the synagogue, and he starts to daven. And he sees a rabbi of the synagogue, and the rabbi of the synagogue comes up to this Rosh Yeshiva. He says, Baruch haba, Rabbi, how are you? So, Shalom Aleichem, I'm from Eretz Yisrael, I'm from Israel. He says, Rabbi, you don't recognize me? The Rosh Yeshiva says, I'm sorry, I don't recognize you. He says, remember many years ago, you had 7 priests come to tour around your yeshiva? He says, definitely. That's something I can never forget. 7 priests come to tour my yeshiva. He says, I'm one of those priests. I'm one of those priests. And I converted. And I became a rabbi. This is my synagogue. He says, wow, kol hakavod, hazaku baruch. He says, Rabbi, I want you to know, one of the biggest inspirations, one of the biggest pushes that I got to convert, because I was very skeptical. I didn't want to. Yeah, I had a friend, he showed me around, our priestly friend who converted, but I liked my life. I wanted to stay. I thought the truth was with us. But when I saw that a person, a human being, is so grateful, so thankful, stops and takes 5 minutes to stop in the corner to thank Hashem for his bodily functions, that everything is working well, that he's healthy, that he's not sick. I said, wow, if there's such a religion like this, there's such a Jew in such a religion, I want to be where he is. I want to be like him. I want to be Jewish as well. And that was one of the biggest pushes that got me to convert and to be a rabbi of this synagogue today. One time, the Chazon Ish, there was a father, a very sad father. He came to the Chazon Ish, visited the Chazon Ish because he wanted to ask advice. This father had a son that the doctors were saying that there's not much hope, there's not much time. He comes, he knocks on the door of the Chazon Ish, and he sees the Chazon Ish is not answering, so he opens the door to the Chazon Ish, and he sees the Chazon Ish reciting the bracha of Asher Yatzar. And then the rabbi is sitting there, and the Chazon Ish is taking his time, and the rabbi, he needs a quick answer, he needs advice. He's scared, his son doesn't have much time. And in the middle of the bracha, the Chazon Ish is reciting Asher Yatzar. This man, he yells out, my son is sick, he doesn't have much time. And the Chazon Ish, out of nowhere, towards the end of the bracha, in a loud voice says, Rofei chol basar umafli la'asot. And he looks at the man and he says, it's this one God that does wonders. He's the living God that heals all, and he does wonders. And the man runs out. He got the message. The man runs out. He comes back after several months at the Chazon Ish to give Chazon Ish good news. And he tells Chazon Ish, I got the message, Rabbi. I got the message that it's this God that heals all. And it's only him that can heal all. And he does wonders. I took upon myself to say Asher Yatzar from that moment on. When I saw you, Rabbi, say the words Asher Yatzar so slowly, so properly. I took upon myself to say it. And the doctors say it was a miracle. How my son is able to live today. They themselves don't know how it happened. And it's all zechut of the bracha of Asher Yatzar. It's all zechut of this, of having kavanah. It's one thing to say it, but to have kavanah, to say it slowly, to not be doing anything, to standing still. And if we can, to use a siddur while we say it, it makes such a difference. And not only a difference in our life, we can make a change in the world. The reason why so many people in the world are not feeling well, are sick with different types of illnesses, is because Am Yisrael as a whole, they're belittling this bracha. And Kol Yisrael Elovim Zelazeh, we're all guarantors for one another. We're all responsible for one another. We'd be so surprised if one person takes upon himself to say Asher Yatzar properly, slowly, bekavanah, the right way, like we described today. Not only will you cause yourself to never get sick. You'd be so surprised how many people in the world that are not feeling well, you can help for them to recover. And after 120, when you go up to Shamayim, Hashem will say, look, you see this person, you healed him. You were the doctor. And you see this woman, you healed her. And this child, 1 month-old baby who needed open heart surgery, you healed this child. You're going to look at Hashem. Hashem, I wasn't a doctor. I was, an OT, an ST. I wasn't a doctor. I don't know this person. I never healed this person. Hashem, I think you got the wrong person. Hashem says, in the zechut of your Asher Yatzar, in the zechut of this holy, very impactful, very necessary event that you took upon yourself to say Asher Yatzar slowly, properly. Not only did you help yourself and your family members, but you helped so many people around the world that were sick, that were in need of a refuah, that were in need of a salvation. And in zechut of your Asher Yatzar, you were able to help them. And all the mitzvot that they did, because they got healed and they continue to live, they continue to serve me, is in your account. Is all because you decided to take upon yourself to say Asher Yatzar slowly. We'll finish with this. Rav Natan of Breslov, the great disciple of the main disciple of Rav Nachman of Breslov, he once came to Rav Nachman after his mother has passed away, and he tells Rav Nachman, Rabbi, my mother has passed away. What's the one thing, what's the best thing that I can do to elevate her soul? For Neshama to have an aliyah. And Rav Nachman of Breslov says, make sure to have kavanah when you say the bracha of Asher Yatzar. That's the best thing you can do for her neshama. So not only does it help us while we're alive, but it also helps those who are not with us anymore. So if we have a family member, or we know of someone who's no longer here with us, and we want to do something in their memory, we want to do something Lilu Nishmat, Rav Nachman of Breslov says, one of the best things that we can do to elevate the neshama is to recite Asher Yatzar b'kavanah. Thank you so much for your attention, ladies. Once again, it's always a great privilege and honor to be addressing you. Yiratzon, with the help of this event and the help of our taking upon ourselves this great bracha of Asher Yatzar, we should all be able to have a full recovery for those who need a full recovery. And most importantly, we should never be able to see or visit any more doctors. We should never be able to see any more sick days in our lives, in the lives of our family members. Hazaku Baruch once again.